So let's just welcome there, Victor. Okay, who's here? Mary, Victor, and Alexis, Coral. Hi, Krista. Hello, Judith. Judith's just upstairs. Hi, Elizabeth in New York, and Barbara, and Michael, and Lorraine, and Shayla, and Source. Okay, so let's just land. Bring your mind to the same place your body is. And check your seated position. So if you are sitting at a desk and your feet are down, make sure they're in a parallel position. And feet can be slightly raised on a cushion or something. And make sure you're not kind of getting tempted to cross your knees or your ankles. It's something I have a habit to do. And what it does is your spine no longer can be straight while you're doing that. So it's very hard for you to be aligned. And we want to be aligned because we want the energy channels in the body to be moving freely. The winds, as they call them, and as the mind rides on the wind, it's best for our meditation to be sitting nice and straight. Well, aligned really. So if you're sitting in the regular cross-legged position, you can have a couple of cushions underneath each knee. Helps if you have tight knees. Sit bones raised, maybe 2 to 4 inches. And make sure you're sitting on something firm. And if you have a surface behind you of any kind, whether it be a wall, a chair, couch, try not to lean into that surface. If you're happy and healthy and well, if you have any injuries and you're not feeling very well, just do whatever you can. But for those people who are feeling fine, and you be the judge of that, it's better if you hold yourself up while you're meditating. Hands are in the meditation mudra, right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. So just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. And so you can just imagine that you have, similar to a puppeteer above you, behind you, just very gently lengthening your spine. Shoulders are aligned with the hips, and as best you can, as we discussed last night, to have the ears aligned with the shoulders. And just tipping the head very slightly, hinging it slightly forward from the base of your skull. So you put a bit of length in the back of the neck. Tip the head slightly forward, and the eyes looking down along the length of the nose to a spot about 2 inches ahead if they were open. Tip of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, and relax the jaw. And just bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax your scalp and the forehead, the nose, the cheeks. Go back to the eyes, relax the eyes, area around the mouth, and the jaw again. And then bring your awareness to the back of your head. Relax the scalp there, particularly around the base of the skull, the occipital bone. And then relax your ears and your inner ear, temples, jaw, back of the tongue. And then just relax any tension you may have in the back of the neck. And relax your shoulders, your shoulder blades, and the upper thoracic area of your back. If you can feel anything along your back, along your spine, Just imagine it relaxing. It's very hard to feel that area. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly, limbs, hands, fingers and feet and toes. And then bring the mind to the breath, noticing the sensation of the air as you're inhaling, slightly cooler than the air you're exhaling. If there are any sounds in your environment, whether it be people in your home, pets, young children, people outside your home, animals, the sun is just finally setting here, so the birds are still around a little bit. So just allow those sounds to be there and notice what attracts your mind, what draws your mind away and towards the sound. Some sounds we just ignore. Other sounds either attract our attention or they create aversion in the mind. Like when our neighbour starts using his power tools. Although we love him very much, but he has a lot of power tools. And then bring the mind back to the breath and just allow the sounds to fade into the background. And then notice your thoughts and try and put some space in between your thoughts. And then just notice as they arise and bide and fall. And try not to engage with your thoughts. This river of mental moments that we have, and we usually have a running commentary going on in our mind that consists of things like, oh, I didn't do enough, or I'm not enough, or that person's really bad and how unfair. And it's quite often the commentary, we are fairly negative towards ourselves. So I want to do just very briefly tonight, if you are someone that recognizes you are having quite a bit of negative commentary in your mind, whether it's anxiety or anger towards yourself. So just imagine a photograph of yourself as a child. We've all got something in either on our phone or in our scrapbook, our photo album. So imagine that child, yourself, 3 or 4 or 5. So imagine how would it be if you were actually saying the words that we say to ourselves, oh, this wasn't a go, oh, that was not great, or just that's awful, or da-da-da, whatever it is we're saying to ourselves, or you're not good enough. Imagine saying that to that 3 or 4-year-old child. You wouldn't, would you? But that child is you. So think about that next time you have a negative thought. And this could be one of the things that we could work on in Resolve, is how much negative self-talk do we have? And would we say those things to a 3 or 4-year-old? We wouldn't, because it would be unkind. So think, like I said, that child is you. So let's just bring to mind all the people of our life, our friends, our loved ones, our family, our spouses, our children, our besties, our work colleagues. These are the people that we have functional relationships with, constructive relationships. And then think of those people that we have a little bit more difficulty with. Slightly awkward, irritating to full-blown harmful. And then there's the strangers, those people that we kind of pass on the freeway on the street. We maybe see them once in a lifetime. They move fleetingly through our lives. And it's good to remember that they could, at any point in time, change places in our life. The friend, the enemy, and the stranger. It's also good to remember they are deserving of our equal concern, because just like us, the friend, the enemy, and the stranger want to be happy, and they don't want to suffer. And they all have this unbelievable capacity, just like you, for this enlightened mind. So let's just bring all of that to our mind as we move into our Vajrasattva practice, and think that we're going to do this meditation this evening for ourselves, of course, but for all the people of our life. So remember, there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind, so we can also equally change that by creating positivity with our mind. And that's what we're doing tonight as we apply the 4 opponent powers to this Vajrasattva practice. So the first is the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And you can think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we all understand about suffering. We don't want to experience any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove those karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. And so think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. So also regret any anger, attachment, basically our delusions, that are the cause of why we harm others, and think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his methods, his healing, his medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head, and you can also think perhaps this is the mind of your teacher, if you have one, your Lama, your trusted mentor, the person who's leading you along the path towards enlightenment, guiding you, your spiritual life. So this person, makes it a little bit more personal for us, manifesting in this form for your benefit, their mind. So he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus, which although born out of mud is untainted by that mud, just like our enlightened potential, although born out of our delusions, untainted by them. So he has this radiant, beautiful face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all the people of your life. He's really, really happy to see you. Delighted. And however it is you're showing up this evening, no worries. He's happy anyway. No critical thoughts, no judgment. It's all good. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And there being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So this little section on compassion. So just to remind ourselves, in order to develop compassion, we really need to rely upon other beings. So the very beings we have harmed, think about them, think that you wish for them to be free from suffering. And then think about the people who have harmed you. And although a little bit more difficult, the harm they've caused you is going to ripen most certainly for them as suffering in the future. But the time it's going to ripen is uncertain. So it can be a little bit of a surprise. And so make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the actual medicine, doing the practice of purification. And so what we're doing here is using the mantra, recitation and visualization of light and nectar as we recite the mantra. So we start with the purification of the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose or from a waterfall. You can imagine Niagara Falls, if you like, from his heart. And this arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And the next is a purification of speech. And again, Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar, this again from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body and overflowing quite powerfully all the negativity of your speech. So you can imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying, talking badly about others behind their backs, being divisive, being careless with your speech. All of this is purified by the powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamazita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. Every time they hear your voice, it benefits their mind, and you always know exactly the right thing to say at exactly the right moment to make people's minds happy. So the next is a purification of the mind. And now Vajrasattva very happily, very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as LAMA YESHE used to say. So when you walk into a pitch black room and switch on a light, that light instantly dispels the darkness. So you can imagine the minute the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your anger and depression and anxiety and attachment and grasping and bitterness and grudges and sadness, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left by this light and this mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa sutokaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiddhi Mepiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiddhi Mepiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our suffering, all of your suffering, all of our own delusions are our own suffering, and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech are totally purified. And think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is a purification of the imprints of negative energy of the body, speech and mind. So if you wish, you can recite a couple of mantras each for the visualization of the body and the speech and the mind that we have just done. Or you can imagine just light and nectar pouring into you from Vajrasattva's heart, filling you completely and eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as you recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiddhi mepiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiddhi Piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiddhi mepiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiddhi mepiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiddhi mepiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiddhi mepiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiddhi mepiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Now feel completely purified. Not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. So finally, the power of resolve. And again, rejoice in your efforts in turning up tonight. And maybe you just wanted to relax and watch something on the telly. So just rejoice, pat yourself on the back, and also rejoice in your efforts in trying to counteract some of these habits that we have that are harmful to ourselves and others. And just very briefly, because I realise we've been a little bit long tonight, just very briefly, think of something you'd like to work on between now and tomorrow. And just one, maybe just one habit, whether it's your speech or something like that, or maybe some negative self-talk. And think, well, I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to stop myself or refrain from this for 5 seconds or 1 minute or 6 hours while I'm sleeping. So Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my Guru's body, speech and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech and mind, and my own body, speech and mind are the same thing. And LAMA YESHE used to call that union oneness. And Rinpoche recommends meditating on the emptiness of the three circles. In emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a moment and just think perhaps all phenomena are empty, not existing from their own side. And then also maybe the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit and the positive energy we've created this evening doing this purification to all living beings, thinking, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjanath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honouring the three jewels, savour of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. And for Lama Ursil, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us in intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request, O Lama, please, please live long. And for Geshe Sherab, beloved teacher leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm sorry, we're a little bit over. And you don't mind? Oh, okay, so I'll make it an hour then. No, I'm kidding.